In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we visit the Farmers Market at Marine Park, learn about efforts to relocate our town archives, and celebrate with the Falmouth High School class of 2018. All this and much more on this episode of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm your host, Michael Kasparian. Recently, the town of Falmouth archives were moved from the basement of Town Hall to the former Natural Resources offices at the pump station near Long Pond. FCTV sat down with Town Clerk Michael Palmer to learn more about this effort to preserve the town's archives.
Hello, I'm Michael Palmer. I'm the town clerk here in Falmouth. I've been a town clerk since 2003, and part of my job is to deal with the document management and storing of documents within the town. And since I've been here, and probably before that, where the town has been in a situation where we've talked about trying to improve the way we handle and store documents. They had been stored in the basement underneath the selectmen's meeting room. Has been a storage room for our documents, and it's that basement room in Town Hall is in a flood zone, so it wasn't the ideal situation. So again, for the last 20 years or so, they've been trying to relocate that room and to identify a building or a room or a space that was available to do this has always been a challenge until we opened the new water filtration plant on Long Pond, and this the building that we're in today is the old water filtration building, and we're using one room in that building for our document storage. It's an historic building. It's actually a very beautiful building, and we're using one of the rooms out of a kind of a segmented building. It's almost a perfect fit for the documents that we have to store, because you need to have a building that has limited access, and because we're right near the water source for the town, this building requires that there's limited access coming down here. So it's actually a good use of the room, and we've looked at other different places throughout the town, and we've never been able to come to agreement on where these documents should go. So I think we've found a good place for them to find a home for. Documents, they're kind of fall into a couple different classifications. Some are necessary for the running of the town, and some that become obsolete and are unnecessary. And that's really the basics for the retention schedule and the retention period. A lot of the documents here will have a retention schedule, although there are some permanent records here that are necessary for historic value, or the things that are essential to run the town on the day-to-day basis normally have a retention schedule of anywhere from 3 to 10 years, and then at the 10-year period you're able to get rid of them where their usefulness is really no longer necessary. And moving forward with the project, and it's a good exercise, as anybody knows that has moved from one house to another. You kind of organize and you sift through all the in this case our documents, and you determine their value, their historic value, and whether they're permanent records, whether they're records we need to keep in order to manage and run the town, or in some cases where there were documents that can be destroyed. And doing through that exercise, we're able to transfer all the documents that were in the basement of Town Hall, and we were able to destroy some documents that were no longer necessary to keep. And we refer to the retention schedule set forth by the Secretary of the Commonwealth, the Public Records Division. They have a record inventory, a record retention schedule for all documents, and if we go by that, then we can kind of rotate out the documents that are no longer necessary to run the town. And that's what getting this organizational system here has really been helpful in getting to that point where documents can, after their retention period, can moved to be destroyed or shredded or discarded of. And making this move has allowed us to get a system in place so we don't have documents that are unnecessary to be stored.
Thank you, Michael Palmer and Jeff Wyman, for shedding light on this important project. The Falmouth Harbor Masters play a vital role in keeping our waterways safe and environmentally sound. In this next piece, we check in with Assistant Harbor Master Bob Watson, who brings us up to date with current town mooring regulations.
Hi, I'm Bob Watson, one of the 3 Assistant Harbor Masters here in Falmouth, Massachusetts, working under the Harbor Master in the Marine Environmental Sciences Department. We have, as Assistant Harbor Masters, we have a multiple of duties, but under those duties, we work with the marina here in town and we help coordinate the mooring structure. As you see behind me, we have mooring slips, approximately 100 slips here in the harbor in Falmouth. We also, if you have a boat and want to locate it in Falmouth, we have mooring fields. We have 14 harbors in the town of Falmouth. Each of those harbors contain numerous moorings. We have over 3,000 moorings in Falmouth, and one of the things that we have seen is an immense demand for slips and for moorings in the community. The demand continues to grow. And all our mooring fields are full at the present time. If you want to apply or obtain a mooring, you have to get in the waiting list. That also applies to the slips again that you see. Moorings come in various sizes according to the boat that would fit upon them. And I think as you look at various harbors in town, some are more accommodating to sailboats and larger craft, but each harbor has its own personality, I would say, and we coordinate efforts of people to try to get their moorings in town. We've had some changes in the regulations, and I suppose the biggest change, the one we've heard most about, is the transfer rule. In the past, you could transfer your mooring to any blood relative, and now we've changed that to be more immediate family. You can no longer transfer your mooring to a sibling or an uncle or a niece. It has to be within the immediate family, spouse, son, daughter. There's a $100 fee which goes along with the transfer process. You also are now allowed to add a name to the mooring if you have it. And again, the same rules apply in terms of relationship to the owner, and you can only make one change per mooring for a 12-month period. One of the things that I think the Harbor Master has done a wonderful job at is gone out and accessed money to create and build up-to-date and new boating ramps. So if you have a boat on a trailer, I don't think there's ever been a day when we've turned people away. One of the things I've found the joy of working in this office is the people that I run to on a daily basis and how impressed they are with Falmouth, the marina, our whole setup, our whole waterway structure. Boat owners who come in and use our slips constantly are telling me what a wonderful place we have, what a friendly town. The amenities around the harbor are second to none. The cleanliness of the harbor and other kinds of things. And we offer so much to so many. And it's great to hear that on a daily basis. I'm proud to be a Falmouth citizen. It's with great pride that we do that.
Be sure to check the Harbor Master's website for additional information. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that coverage. It's time now for 3 things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
The Selectmen received recommendations from the Falmouth Beach Committee regarding beach rules and regulations. Some of these recommendations included rules surrounding ball playing, music, tent size, and animal control. The Selectmen heard from the public regarding issues concerning these recommendations. The Selectmen discussed these concerns with Beach Superintendent Bruce Mogardo and ultimately decided to approve the recommendations as presented from the Beach Committee with an amendment to extend the approved rules to all hours of the day.
Some towns have 25, 35 things that they want you to do, and most of that begins with no. We honestly felt that we could try to strike a balance between people's rights, people's safety, and the privilege of having fun at Falmouth beaches, besides just getting a suntan and getting wet. We think we can do more. I believe I can do more with your beaches. I want to try.
Wastewater Superintendent Amy Lowell presented to the Selectmen a status report regarding Falmouth Heights sewer connection enforcement. Ms. Lowell discussed a brief history of the sewering project in the Heights area and reported that not all required properties have connected. The Selectmen instructed Ms. Lowell to pursue the property owners with phone calls and then subsequently with the appropriate fines.
So this gives you the authority to impose this violation on your own when you deem it necessary, correct?
Yes, it's the board, it's the wastewater superintendent's authority to issue these fines. I'm reporting to the selectmen on the process and the plan to do so. The two final notices both had the same date, and the last one said, this is it, there's no more extensions. So they had two notices that with the same final date on them. But I will try the phone call method.
Town Manager Julian Suso and Department of Public Works Director Ray Jack updated the Selectmen on the status of Falmouth's partnership in the intermunicipal agreement with surrounding towns regarding the transfer station. Mr. Jack presented the history of the agreement to the Selectmen and detailed how the agreement breaks down. The existing agreement expires at the end of June, and the Selectmen were asked to extend the agreement till the end of 2022.
Ray, the town also earns revenues annually from this agreement, correct?
Yes, and it escalates for each of the 5 years under Cavosa's contract. It's not a substantial amount, but it's significant enough. I know for the second year, it's $19,500 plus $10,000 and change, and that equals about $30,000 on the second year of the contract, and it escalates to a range of $30,000 to $40,000 depending on what the tonnage is. And that is just Falmouth's share.
I'm glad that we still have this option because last month the Bourne demolition disposal was closed because they had a funding issue. And so it was great to have this option, and I think we should support it, keep it going.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I made a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll learn about an adoptable dog from Friends of Falmouth Dogs. Stay with us.
Mateo is a 3-year-old male standard poodle. He loves to play ball, enjoys the company of people, and is very responsive to commands. Although he gets along with other dogs, we think he'd be most comfortable being the only dog in the household. Like most poodles, he's smart and quick to learn. He walks well on a leash. We've had a lot of people come to meet him, and we think he may be adopted soon. To find out more, visit www.friendsofFalmouthDogs.org or call 508-548-7742.
Welcome back. The Falmouth Farmers Market offers a variety of fresh local foods from Cape Cod and southeastern Massachusetts vendors. With summer almost upon us, the market is now in full swing.
So we started off the 2018 season the last week in May under sunny skies, which was lovely. And it's continued each Thursday so far, and we hope it continues all 20 weeks. We have some great vendors, returning vendors, as well as new vendors. We have local farms such as Pariah Dog Farm and Peachtree Circle Farm. We have some that come from a little bit further in the South Coast area, such as Dartmouth area, that sort of area, but all local southeastern Massachusetts farms and vendors.
You can pick up some corn to grow on your deck, have a hot donut, chomp a radish. It's delightful. You see your friends.
Get oatmeal cookies.
It's intergenerational.
If you can go somewhere and buy a local product, besides going to big corporations and buying stuff there, I mean, these guys can tell you everything about your food, where it comes from, how it's grown, or how it's raised and stuff like that, you know, what they use to grow it. It's just so much better for you in general as well.
The weather brought me out early, but I love the produce here, and I always come. And today I got beautiful lettuce, asparagus, fresh asparagus, and I had to pick up a donut.
It's important to support local agriculture, so we have a rich farming history here in Falmouth, and I feel that it's important to keep that alive and well, and we can do that by supporting our local farmers, by buying their wonderful produce that they grow. It's also important to have access to local food, and so we can eat things that haven't been trucked across the country or flown internationally. That's a very important thing that I feel contributes. And it's an important meeting place, I think, to have a special place. It's a little bit like, bumping into somebody at the coffee shop or something like that, but it's outside and they're right by the gorgeous harbor, and it just provides a special place to sort of meet up and get some groceries and maybe lunch.
The market is held on Thursdays from noon to 6 p.m. at Marine Park on Scranton Avenue. Through a generous grant from the Woods Hole Foundation, the farmers market is able to double SNAP and WIC benefits along with senior coupons, which stretches benefits further. Thanks to Bob Fenstermaker for that coverage. In this next segment, we take a look at highlights from the recent commencement ceremony at Falmouth High School.
Falmouth High School has provided us with this incredibly supportive environment, and I'm not just saying this. There are so many kids in our senior class who I'm not close friends with, but who I'm extremely proud of. Over 4 years together, we have cultivated an extremely supportive community, which is the most important thing we could have as we go off on our own. We are so lucky to have grown up together and to have experienced high school as one group. I'm grateful to be graduating with the class of 2018. There was no one else I would rather like to see crossing the stage here with me today. Because here we have one last experience we can be proud of. Welcome, class of 2018, to the culmination of our high school careers. Welcome to this celebration of our experiences together. And welcome to this last.
These past 4 years with each of you has flown by exactly how we were all told it would. For me, one of the best parts of this experience was watching as we all worked individually and together to become the people who we are today. People always say that after graduation, our real lives begin and we go on our own separate paths. However, we have been doing this since we first walked the halls of Falmouth High School as freshmen. We have already begun following our likes and aspirations as we have matured into the adults who we are today. I know that this jump into the world after high school can seem a little scary and intimidating for each of us. Therefore, today, I would like to leave you with my totally unqualified advice for your futures. I know not what any of our futures hold in store, so I can only imagine what advice may be helpful, and you may pick and choose what most applies to you. Firstly, I advise that none of you ever stop dancing. I've seen most of you at various school dances busting a move on the dance floor. Sometimes I'm amazed that someone can be so coordinated, and other times I'm amazed you didn't flail and smack the person next to you. Both are equally great and wonderful. You are having fun and being you. That's how I recommend you continue to live your lives.
Thousands of Falmouth High School graduates who came before you, many present here today, are offering their congratulations, their best wishes, their hope, and certainly help for your continued success. Falmouth has been good to you. You have been great for Falmouth. You have what it takes to move this community forward, to make this community, and indeed the world, safer, stronger, and better. The class of 2018, from kindergarten through Falmouth High School through today, it has been a great ride. Your time has come to use all that you are and all that you have learned for an even greater good. Class of 2018, good luck. Congratulations, go forward.
Congratulations to the graduating class of 2018. Thanks to Ryan Weber for that segment. In this week's fishing report, Ryan Collins shows us how to snag pogies.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the My Fishing Cape Cod Falmouth Fishing Report for the month of June. In this clip, you'll see My Fishing Cape Cod founder and creator Ryan Collins explaining the topic of this month's report.
Hey, this is Ryan from My Fishing Cape Cod. I'm with my buddy Jason Mazzola. We're out here in the 12-foot tin boat, and today we are going to use these snag hooks, and we are going to cast these snag hooks into big schools of adult bunker, or pogies, which have been all over the Cape the past week. Once we snag the pogie, we're gonna let it swim around, and hopefully there'll be some big stripers that are trailing these big schools of adult bunker.
These clips were from last summer, when the Pogies moved in heavily. However, it's only a matter of time before these schools of big bait return to waters around Falmouth. All you need is a weighted snag hook like this one and a spinning rod.
I think I got a bass on here. Yeah, definitely. Look at this. Woo! Yeah, he's taking line.
I gotta get a bogey.
That's awesome. Did not expect to hook up with a nice bass right there. Not like we have any sonar or anything to mark the stripers, but there's a few around. Hey, you want to reel them in a little bit? I'll get some underwater shots of them. Yeah, that's definitely a good fish.
Michael 50.
During this trip, all of the stripers that we caught were in very close proximity to the schools of pogies. It seemed like the fish hung around the edge of the schools of pogies. So we would snag a pogie and then let it drift near the edge of the school.
Come on, baby.
We did not let the bass run with the pogie for very long because we didn't want to gut hook any of the fish. So we fished with a closed bail and just let the fish take the pogie and essentially set the hook on its own. This is one good way of reviving bass, holding it next to the boat and keeping the boat in forward at maybe 2 miles an hour until the fish chomps down on your thumb, and that's when you know he's ready to be released.
Snagging pogies is one of the simplest ways to catch big striped bass in Falmouth. This is Andrew Burke of MyFishingCapeCod.com signing off. Until next time, everyone, tight lines and take care.
Thanks to Andrew Burke and Ryan Collins of My Fishing Cape Cod for generously providing us with that footage. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll check in with contributor Troy Clarkson, who previews a popular local arts festival. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Dan Voris, and I'm a trustee at the Woods Hole Public Library. I wanted to tell you a little about this more than century-old institution in the heart of Woods Hole. As busy as the library is in the off-season, in the summer it really comes alive. It becomes a haven for all the book, game, and movie lovers who arrive during the warm months. It has more than 50,000 items in its collection, including adult and children's books, magazines and newspapers, downloadable e-books, DVDs, and something called the Library of Things, an eclectic group of lendable items such as a guitar, a sewing machine, and a stud finder. Of course, it has plenty of summer reading material. The library stocks the murder mysteries, the thrillers, as well as the latest nonfiction to while away the hours at the beach. For families, it has a large collection of children's books, puzzles and games, and DVDs of all sorts. Again this year, the library will have a summer reading program that encourages children and young adults to read and win a sweet reward from village merchants. The library also helps newcomers discover Woods Hole and become part of it through programs, events, and the daily interactions with locals. The library has long been one of the hubs of the village's rich summer social life. The hours, the catalog, programs, events, and much more can be found at woodsholepubliclibrary.org, on Facebook, or you can call the library at 508-548-8961. Thanks.
Welcome back. This week, Troy Clarkson takes us to Arts Alive for a preview of the festival which takes place on the Falmouth Library lawn. Here's Troy's take.
Thanks very much. I am standing here in one of the highlights,
one of the iconic locations here in our downtown Peg Noonan Park. And right now it's just a typical beautiful early summer afternoon with a wonderful light breeze and the sun shining. But this weekend, this Peg Noonan Park and all of Main Street will be teeming with thousands of people here to celebrate culture and the arts. This weekend, it's all about Arts Alive, the festival here in Falmouth. So I'm going to visit with some of the folks involved in this wonderful event. Come along with me and let's see what it's all about. So Lee, as the chairman of Arts Falmouth, this wonderful community event, you must be very excited for this year's iteration. There's some exciting new developments.
There are, and I am very excited. This is the 15th year of Arts Alive, and we took over, the current board of Arts Falmouth took over, Troy, for Roger and Judy Day, who brought this an event to a whole new spectrum.
That's great, and I know that the event always is centered on Falmouth talent, but this year, the dance to kick things off has kind of a special meaning.
Absolutely. The town dance on Friday night, which happens right over at the library at the performance tent. We have a few intro bands, but it is Puffy Elvis kicking off Arts Alive this year. And as you probably know, Puffy Elvis, former teachers and guidance counselors and educators from the Falmouth school system. So they bring quite the crowd.
So tell us, if I come here on Friday night or Saturday morning or Saturday night, what am I going to see? What can I do?
Oh, that's the beauty. A little bit of everything and a whole lot of really different things. So we are using Peg Noonan Park for the first time in a long time. And there's going to be vendors there, as well as we're going to have an open mic for kids at Peg Noonan Park on Saturday afternoon. We talked about Puffy Elvis. The performance tent in the library is where a lot of the music is. And there's another tent all the way over by Shore Street. Continuous music from Friday night all the way through to Sunday afternoon.
And this is a great family event. There are activities for all ages here.
There is activity for all ages, not only at Arts Alive, but we intentionally schedule this every year, third weekend in June, Father's Day weekend, and it coincides, again, not coincidentally, with the St. Barnabas Strawberry Festival and the more recent carnival at Mullen Hall. So the kids can go from one event to the other, in addition to the fact that one of our tents, the music tent, actually has the focus on interactive and things for kids, not exclusively, but everything from storytelling to sing-along to folk music. So we have seen a younger audience to Arts Alive over the past few years and really want to take advantage of that. And the other activities in town, again, emphasize that feel of community.
You know, the world of art is wonderful and inclusive. The town of Falmouth is wonderful and inclusive. So when we had a young man photobomb our interview, we didn't scold him. We asked for his story. Because art and music, like the written word, tells a story. And so thousands of stories will be told this weekend at Arts Falmouth. And we'd love for you to join us, because the story of arts in Falmouth keeps being told again and again and again, and it will be told this weekend. Like Lee said, Falmouth and Falmouth Village is a really cool place. And this weekend, it will be even cooler. I'm Falmouth Enterprise columnist Troy Clarkson, and that's my take. Back to you.
Arts Alive is a 3-day event which takes place on the third weekend of June each year. For more information on the festival, visit artsfalmouth.org. Thank you, Troy, for that piece. FCTV wants you to know that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos, or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. We leave you now with the sights and sounds of T-Ticket Walk to School Day. Thanks for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.